Hey guys, Peter living on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. So overall, not much has happened since last video a couple weeks ago. Still staring at the same sidewaysness in all charts essentially. ETH a little less so, so a few alts a little less so, but in general everything's just sort of chilling out sideways. The expected volatility I thought we were going to get during the CME futures contracts, we didn't get. The expected volatility I thought we'd get during China coming back from vacation this week, we haven't gotten yet. The expected volatility coming out of Columbus Day, we may get still, I don't know. But overall, looking at CME, not much has happened. There was a nice little bump after the CVOE settlement, which I wasn't really tracking or paying attention to, but that was also a factor of small movements that didn't really have an effect. That essentially got retraced. If we're talking about the months-old Wyckoff turned falling wedge turned everyone hates me on Twitter chart, we're still not 75% full of this falling wedge. The Wyckoff idea is pretty much dead, I think, for the most part. I don't have enough experience to like say we're going to move this line here and call this another support test and blah blah blah. It certainly makes logical sense that it could be. It looks like it might pan out that way, but I can't confidently say like that's what it is. I'd rather just say like this looks like a falling wedge to me. That looks like it's close to being 75% complete. Around October 19th-ish, 18th, something like that. That's when the expectation, the probability of a break above the diagonal resistance increases substantially, just based on what triangles do. If you look at RSI, same thing. You don't see this too often where it's just like coil, 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 tiny, tiny, tiny. So the moves for the falling wedge should be bullish. That would bring us to 11K. If not, based on measured moves, 4,200 sounds good. And it's just kind of like previous zone over here where we saw a lot of action. And according to Bukowski, falling wedges are a very poor performer as far as bullish chart patterns go. So we'll see. Alternatively, everyone and their mother has generally been looking at this descending triangle, which continues to just fill in sideways like a kid with a crayon who's really good at coloring inside the lines. It just keeps bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. We're now well beyond 80% complete. This has a bearish bias. This has an expectation of at least 2K based on the measured move. These formulas are from Bolkowski's, the way he measures moves. If you look at the fib extension, it's 1300. Alternatively, we're talking about 13,000 and 17,000. So obviously a massive range of prices there. And on the downside, again, same thing. Just look at previous zones, what happened. Roger Ver selling, Novogratz buying. That's generally what happened over here, I think. There was some like SegWit stuff going on that dropped us down here. So that's probably where we're headed. If we break 5,800, I'd say. You can see volume just dropped off completely again. So it's definitely revving up for another move. I don't know how to feel about this other than until it breaks the diag, you can't really expect one thing or the other. Like everything's neutral. Cloud still has us below the cloud, which is bearish. It's a bearish TK cross. It's a bearish cloud itself. Again, you can see the volume a little bit better here. But this doesn't give you confidence as far as the litmus test is concerned for bullishness until we're above the cloud. There's certainly a flat Kumo around 7,200. Things might get interesting. But overall, not looking great for the bull case at the moment. That could change quickly, in one candle on a daily. But it's not like leaning bullish or super bearish. It's just neutral to bearish, I'd say. More bearish than anything. This is a 12-hour. Again, nothing substantial here. I don't like this chart because we've had several fake outs that have gone nowhere. So we're likely to see another that'll go nowhere just based on what's happened previously. So I'd rather much take into account this. If we break above the cloud here, it's game on like Donkey Kong. But otherwise, the expectation is we just keep going lower until we break above the cloud. And then lastly, for Bitcoin, looking at the B bands, we all feel certainly on Twitter and other places, that in your loins and your plums, that this volatility is at record lows and approaching just yearly lows in general on everything concerning volatility. So looking at B bands, we can see that weekly bands have only ever been this tight, like 4 other times. And most of this was just consolidation before markup on the Wyckoff business. I don't really know what this was about, to be honest, but this is definitely going to be a large move. 50% move, up or down, doesn't say much, I know, but just going to be a massive play one way or the other. So definitely worth paying attention. One thing I will say about the B bands, they lean bearish at the moment. Again, just like Cloud, we're below the 20 MA, which is the red line in the middle. So if we break the lower band, obviously that's bearish, but otherwise, if we break up, we break through the upper band. So for ETH, I wrote an article a few days ago. Took a couple days to write. A lot of stuff going on. I'm in New Zealand, by the way. I don't think I said that. Jim BTC is staring at me as I record this.
You're doing good, man. You're doing good. Keep it up.
So anyway, so I'm looking at ETH, and really the concerning things for me are transactions are going down, unconfirmed transactions are going up, and fees are going up. So like, what's that about? I don't even know. Daily active addresses are going down, NVT is going up. So all these like fundamental net metrics are bearish. We look at ICOs, ICO raises have gone way down. They're still up substantially from last year, which is crazy to think. dApps are mostly exchanges and gambling and scams. Then the hash rate, which is probably the most concerning thing to me coming into October 30th, is what's going to happen after that hard fork when mining profitability goes even lower. If I'm an ETH miner, I'm saying bye-bye, and then hash rate goes lower. So I don't know how that's going to pan out. It's going to be super interesting to watch, but we'll see. From a charts perspective, this is like the most scary chart I've ever seen. But really on thin ice here from a volume perspective. So this is volume profile, volume range of the volume range. This is just showing you where the buy and sell volume has occurred historically. And you can see that we're on ice right now. It's saying if we break below this zone, there's not much support below us. So we're much more likely to just like die from here if we drop below, this local low. Things are going to get real interesting. We'll probably match these wicks, but there's really no price history to test any support. I mean, it goes to here. Whatever this is, 85, I don't know. Like that's the next zone where people are going to be looking at just based on previous price history. The 12-hour bands actually look bullish, so they're tight. Prices above the median. It's squeezing, so that's something to watch. Here, this is a great example of when B bands don't really help you out that much because it looks bullish until it doesn't, right? So this might look bearish until it doesn't. I don't know. You can argue in hindsight that there was an M double top there, whatever. But as soon as it breaks lower, like this would be your short entry here, as soon as it breaks the lower band. So long entry would be above upper band, and short entry would be below lower band. One thing I was watching over the past couple days, week, was this potential ugly looking head and shoulders. So shoulder, head, shoulder. And arguably this is all throwback nonsense, which is really hard to rationalize, but I don't have the volume on here, but I should. It's descending, and it is, so you just have to take my word for it, but it's there. And volume hasn't really returned since attempting to test the throwback. So I'm out of the short at the moment, but if it does break down, you're expecting just local low retest, basically. The stop out for that was kind of 240. There's no like clear cut on anything right now. It certainly looks like it wants to mean revert to like 280. That'd probably be not optimistic, but a realistic target. Just the previous breakpoint on the cliff here, the horizontal. It's also the median of this downward pitchfork. That's why in the article I said we're medium in the bear term. So I think it's going to take a long time to bust through all this pitchfork. So it'll just, it'll bounce around these levels like rings on a ladder. but I don't think it's just going to bust up to 450 anytime soon. In the cloud, again, it looks way more bearish than Bitcoin. Just a nice clean trend here. Not too much flattening either, just a lot of velocity down. And lastly, we're looking at 12-hour ETH. I was watching this for a nice edge-to-edge situation that, again, didn't really pan out, much like the Head and Shoulders that hasn't really gone anywhere. And you can see it's flirting with the cloud again, and it's a bullish TK. Like there's no like clean like impetus to enter anything here right now. But if it's in the cloud, you got to think it's more bullish than bearish. If it drops below and we get a bearish TK cross, then you can think it's time to sell the farm, and Vitalik's vision is dead. That's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter, and happy trading.